thing about product management. Many will argue that finding your sixth product management job is actually harder than finding your first. Now, this is especially true in days like this when mergers, layoffs, and management changes are in full swing. It can sometimes feel like starting from scratch. It's like a new whole beginning, a new whole thing. And this product book club will provide you with all the information you need to make change work for your career. My name is Maria Cassis, and I'm the founder and general manager of Product League, the mentoring program that helps you to become the best product manager you can be. Across 30 countries, from Morocco to Canada, from Iran to Colombia, Product League offers mentoring for product managers by product managers, and this product book club webinar will walk you through starting from scratch step by step, featuring one book, one author, two leaders who will ask insightful questions, and of course, you, the audience, with so many questions in store. So our goal is to get to know you better. Go ahead and tell us in the comment section below who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what is your biggest concern or question when it comes to rebuilding your product management career. Let's turn this product book club into our little product party. I hope that you are ready, because now it's time to meet today's author and today's book. Joining us live from New York, Osnat Benari, product and strategy at Dragons Can Fly and Product League mentor. Her book, Starting from Scratch, was published in 2022 and is our book for this product book club. What's up? What's up?
Ooh, so exciting.
So exciting indeed. Happy to have you back on our floor, our Product League mentor and now published author, which is a great deal. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is amazing to meet the community again, continue the work with you guys, which I love to do, as you know. So really, really, really thank you for setting this up.
The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is ours. The whole community is here to ask questions, to get a discussion going, because this is a great topic for us to discuss every day, but unfortunately, especially on days like this. So this session today is needed. This product book club is needed, and we are going to be here in full power, providing all the answers that the community needs. Now, before we start and before we meet our leaders for today, tell me a little bit about the book.
Of course. So the book called Starting from Scratch, and the subtitle is called Manage Change Like Your Career Depends on It. And if I could make it any longer, I would say, because it does. And so released in January of this year, which is really exciting. It's an Amazon bestseller. So really hoping that that means that it also, affects a lot of lives and helps a lot of people. And it's all about the tools that are needed to help us navigate any changes that come our way. And changes is not something that, is a one-off thing. It's something that is constantly happening to us. So really to have the tools, to have the method to not just survive change, but actually thrive in change and be excited by change is what can really affect our lives. And this is what we do. We work, and most of the time that we're awake. So it's really important that it matters, that, it's a good place for us. It's a place that uses our talents and our skills, and that we're happy on the day to day. So brought this book to life. The book is very much an inspiration. And what I love that, and I hope that this club will do, is kind of move it to transformation, to kind of getting the tools, getting the things that we can do together to thrive and change.
Absolutely. And truth should be told that these skills and mindset should be acquired before the change comes to your doorstep.
Yeah.
Because it's about getting into the right mindset ahead of time in a way that allows us to recognize opportunities ahead of time.
Absolutely. So the book is talking about 6 steps, and it also gives inspirational stories from other people that I interviewed for the book. But it really talks about 3 things that you constantly need to own or to master, so that when change is coming, then there are 3 more steps to do. Because otherwise, taking the whole chunk of 6 steps is a bigger endeavor. So really taking the first 3 steps that prepare you for change, allow you to identify change, also shut down change. Sometimes we think that we need to change, but it's not the right time. It's not the right decision. So really to be able to identify the spark, I call it in the book, the change that comes our way or the change that we want to create. And then once we do agree with it, we do want to go through it, then we have 3 tools in our tool belt to master that change, to master what we're about to embark on.
And this is what we're going to discuss today. And we are not going to do it by ourselves, just 2 of us. We're also going to have 2 leaguers joining us, and let's meet them. We're going to have Adriana Valencia and Ira Sherling joining us on the floor. Hello, ladies. What's up?
Hi, very excited to be here.
Hi, thanks so much for having us.
The pleasure is ours. Thank you very much for being here. We are happy to have you on board because it's about a discussion, right? Books are just an enabler, an amazing enabler for discussion and for the community to thrive together and to discuss things that matter. And this is exactly what we're going to do today with the help of Adriana and Ira, where they're going to ask you, Osnat, some meaningful and very important questions based on the book and based on the challenge catered towards dealing with the challenge of rebuilding our careers, especially in product management, starting from scratch, starting new jobs, looking for new opportunities, and everything that comes with that. Now, let's see who is joining us here in the audience. We have Nir Adam here joining us, searching for a new job after laying off. Thriving in Change can help me in this situation. Thank you very much for being with us today. Nir, we have Sorab, hello, joining us from India. We have Diego from Brazil. Hello to you too. We have Guy from Israel. We have Kaijin from Uganda joining us. We have Amanda joining us from Vancouver. Looking forward to tips and tricks or maybe even trips for how to redesign my current position into something more. I love this one. You can always count on our own Amanda Henderson, our own leaguer, to come up with the best challenges. I just love this one. And also Michelle is here, mentor of ours from Product League, joining us from Colombia. Happy to see you all guys here. Keep the questions coming, okay? Keep them coming. We're going to check up with you guys throughout this session and provide some meaningful answers to some really great questions. So this is good. And now we are going to start with questions. And Adriana, I know that you really want to be the first one, so I'm gonna give you the microphone. Okay, I'm handing you the virtual mic, and please let us know what is the first question that came to your mind when you were reading the book and thinking about the challenge of rebuilding your product management career.
Osnat, thank you so much for being willing to answer questions. So I'm, as many other leaguers are, currently unemployed. My company had a mass layoff in October. And as I read your book, I noticed very much that it was about reinvention and creating new opportunities within a company. And as I interview and apply for roles in this round, what I have found is that a lot of companies seem to be interviewing candidates who already have very extensive experience in their particular vertical or business model. And there seems to be less of an opportunity for change and reinvention, both for the candidate and for that company. So I would love your take on how to navigate that.
So I will say that a lot of starting from scratch starts from the head. And that's why one of the 6 steps that I talk about is to build your resilience. And job search, like many searches in our lives, require that resilience. So you said something that sounded like a fact, which is companies are hiring people that are ... And what I would like is that we don't talk about, just like in product management, we don't talk about things as if they're facts, if we just heard it once or it's just our opinion. And my book originally was called How to Plan Your Career Like a Product Manager, because I do think that the pillars of our profession are something that will help us build new experiences, new lives, new careers. Like, we really know how to do it. So the first things first is that here's a fact. You need one workplace that will suit you and that will hire you. That's it. You don't need 200, you don't need 300. And so whatever the other thinking you have that they already hire someone that ... So that's not your one. So it's really important not to take some generalization or fear into this equation, but really just prepare yourself for the job and do the best you can in the situation. And if it's not that thing, then it's not. It's just the next thing comes. What I did love, and I coached several people through Product League around now preparing for interviews. So there was an outreach if you want help or if you can give help through Product League, which is something that I really appreciate, right? Like, there's a lot of communities that come to the help of the users. So one of the 6 steps that I talk about is really that, to create that supportive community. I talk about them as personal board of directors, just like companies need, various peoples on the board to give you the right direction to build the right company. People need that too. So when you go after a position, what does your personal board of directors say? Are you prepared for the interview? Can they introduce you to someone that can prepare you better? Do they know someone within that company so that you can do better in that interview? Or maybe you can meet someone and prepare from that company. Where is that community that comes to your support in time like this, but also in other changes that you would want in the future for yourself? Where is that community and how does it show up for you? But really, really important, coming back to your question, layoffs and job search, a lot of times I feel that it feels like spaghetti. Like, there's so many jobs, so many requirements, so many things going on, so many trends of, should I do a resume that will fit to an ATS? Should I go and take a coach that will prepare me? Should I do that? Should I do that? Spaghetti. I love spaghetti, but as food, not in this situation. And I think what we need to do here is just to create a bulleted list. What are the things that are, just to kind of untangle this story and say, okay, I feel that someone that has more experience than me is more ready for the job. Okay, how can you close that gap? And I feel that I might not be prepared for this interview. Okay, where's that community that can help and support you and prepare you for that role? And then there are facts. Some facts exist. A job description is a fact. Can you close the gap between yourself right now and the job description? So really create a clean list, not a spaghetti, so that you can really tackle them one by one.
Can I follow up on that real quick?
Of course.
So how would you, let's say for closing the gap, because I've had it happen multiple times where a company will say, well, you've had some B2B SaaS and some consumer experience, and we've decided to just focus on people with only B2B SaaS experience. So how can you, whether in the resume or in the interview process, close the gap to get to, let's say, the focus that they want?
Yeah. So it's a super important question. So I will say a job description is your beginning. And during the interviews, as you meet more people, or if you can meet people before you even interview through your network, through the fact that you yourself network directly with the company's employees, how can you really know what the interviewer needs? And if you can tell before that, can you ask leading questions so that you really unpack what they're looking for? Because sometimes people copy job descriptions, people, just put things there.
I love it sometimes. I love the phrase sometimes.
Yeah. Just giving them some credit. But that when it happens, it means that you really need to use the time of the interview to unpack what they really need. And then you can adjust your conversation, your experience into where is that fitting in. But it is important that you are a participant in the interview. They don't just ask you a question and you give them what you have. You ask question, identify what they look for, and you close the gap. Now, if you have a gap, then it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to say, well, I identify that you're looking for, I don't know,
whatever and ever.
10 years experience in B2B, and I only have 5, but I have the rest of the 5 in something else. You can please prepare them, explain to them why you're still a fit, what you bring from the B2C world that the B2B, would benefit from. You're actually used to working with users. You're used to working with data much more. You're used to being, to use experiments. You're used to really good user experience and UI, and you focus on that. And that can be actually your differentiator. Don't hide what you're missing. Actually show how you're closing the gap. And you can also give an example of how you closed the gap before. But between you and the role model, and the role model will change. And that's another thing I talk about in the book. It's kind of like to define your role model and then how to close the gap on your role model. The job description is your role model. And as you add more things from the interview, the role model will get more 3D, right? How do you actually close the gap, and how do you explain to them things that they might miss, a sentence that you might have mentioned, but you haven't detailed? Read between the lines. We're really good at that as product managers. We listen to users and we assume what they would need as a feature, right? Like, what is the problem they're actually talking about? Do that. Do product manager. I really feel that product managers, above all roles, are more prepared in an interview situation if they use their product management practice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. If I can build up on what you just share, Osnat, in the way that we at Product League like to say, read between the code lines. So read between the description lines. The job description lines, the requirements, read within that and learn what is the special sauce that you can bring to the table, to the company, to the team. And Ira, let's follow up on this beautiful question from Adriana. Thank you for Adriana for opening up and sharing this with us. What is your experience in times when you wanted a job, you saw this beautiful, very interesting job opening, you really wanted that, but there was a gap between what was conveyed as the ideal candidate and the place where you were at your career? And we should mention, by the way, that this is, it's somehow that we are all female and ladies, female product managers here in the audience. This is something that is very common within female product managers, like reading this full of achievement job description, candidate description, and then finding these 1 or 2 things where we're lacking the experience that was expected, and sometimes feeling like this is kind of a gap that we should just quit the journey at the time that we're seeing that. So Ira, what is your experience?
So I'm happy to announce that I've landed 2 job offers.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So I don't know what to decide because both of them want me. So now I need to decide. So it's a quite interesting experience. And I think, like, first question, I was in the beginning, after people being laid off, it's like a shock, like you said in the book, it's like post-trauma. I was fired once. I was like working in consulting firm as a product director. And I moved to bank, and then I moved to startup because I wanted to start some new adventures and to be out of my comfort zone. And then I was fired, laid off. And I was, so my next journey was really traumatized because I was really afraid that I'm going to screw up. And every time I moved, it was like being under this, trying to be all in, trying to make sure that my managers are happy with me and I'm doing my best. working nonstop, no boundaries, no nothing. And then eventually my company, thank you very much. And then eventually my company, they didn't have any more money, and we were laid off. So I just gave all in, and I didn't spend time with my family. So next time I was quite shocked, and I had to put all my resilience in place. And in the beginning, I said to myself, okay, obstacle is a way. Like we say I've just finished leadership program of Hoffman Kaufman Foundation. And they talk about a lot of stoicism, that this all shall end. So I knew this journey of pain will end, and I will find something new, and I must be resilient. So I had this in mind. But before, in the beginning, I was like shooting in all directions to try to find the next offer, and to have new things, because I live in the most expensive city, which is like Tel Aviv. So you need to be responsible, and I'm a mom of 3, so I need to be very, very responsible. And I moved my family to Tel Aviv. We were living near Jerusalem, so I was feeling like yourself, but in US. So I was feeling moving my kids to Tel Aviv. It was very painful. So I said, why did you do this? You lost your job, and you have to find a new job quite soon. So I was shooting in all directions, and then I was talking to people, and they say, what are your values? Think about your values first, because it will reflect in your job search. And I never thought that my values are important, but they are, because I want a company which is goes with my internal values, but matters the most for me. So it was first time I needed to question myself, what are my values? And then my next question to myself, it was like internal journey, because I understood that shooting in all directions and trying to be something I'm not would not help me, and I need to find my strength and to tell my story, not just like a bullet point stories, which is quite general, and all product managers have like the same things, like roadmaps and prioritization and everything. But what is my special sauce, my own? And then I knew my values and my special sauce, and then I used ChatGPT. And explained to ChatGPT what is my special sauce and what should I look for. So I was like consulting with ChatGPT, and I said, this is my CV. And then I talked to my friends. I looked for some help of mentors outside of this community and in this community. And also I've established a new community of product managers who are searching for their next job. And I created a lot of meetups in order to set my mind straight while I'm in the process, just to know to beat people and not to be depressed, and to keep myself thinking. And then something changed in my mind, as you said, and my mind became like crystal clear. It was amazing. Everything changed, because I was instead of chasing, I was being focused and calm. And it was like a change in my mind, and I became really resilient. It was amazing. It was like internal change, and I was trying to focus myself on mindfulness. It didn't really work mindfulness, but I was trying to focus on my special sauce. And I was telling myself, I don't need to apply myself to all the openings. I need to be specific to something I have extra added value. So, and then eventually a headhunter started. I changed my LinkedIn about my own story. So I created my own story in my own LinkedIn, not just generic LinkedIn. And then suddenly it was like crazy. Headhunters were coming to my directions and asking me to become head leaders of the product. And I was, oh my God, it's working. And every day now I'm receiving lots of offers. And it's so funny, because I was in the beginning chasing them, and now I'm receiving so many offers. So I'm thinking the journey should change. It's not like shooting to all the directions and applying, trying to close the gap. It's just, first of all, talking to yourself and to understand what matters the most for us and what is our special added value and where we are strong and what do we want. Because as you said, this director of yours asked you, what do you want, Osnat? What do you want? So yeah. I really try to ask myself, what do you want, Ira? Where are you good at? Where you would be happy? Try to imagine yourself happy. try to imagine it yourself, but you are already working in this job, and how do you feel? So
what I love about your story, Ira, is when I wrote the book, I interviewed 200 people, because one of the things I wanted is I did not want that anybody will say, oh, well, she's special, that's why she can start from scratch and thrive after. I actually wanted that everyone, when they read the book, they read the method and understand the method, but they also see stories like yours, stories of other people that needed to start from scratch, how they used the method and how they finished. Now, the thing is, I interviewed them before I wrote the book. So I was looking for people who thrive in change, and then we reversed engineer to see if they actually used one of the tools in my method. And I asked them to credit it to what helped you make that change. And some of them would say one thing, some of them would say more. You actually mentioned 4 tools, actually, out of the 6. And probably, you identified yourself when you read the book, you identified yourself in others. But here's what you said. So first of all, you packed your baggage. You understood that the last time that this did not work, last time that you carried this trauma with yourself, it resulted in another trauma. You realize that you need to pack your baggage. You need to look for your values. And the pack your baggage exercise is actually exactly that. You can't go on a journey without packing your bags, right? But packing your baggage takes whatever experience we had before and says, okay, it ended with layoff, or it ended with me needing to change. But what did I take with me from the past experience? And what are the things that I didn't know before and now I do? Who are the people I didn't know before and now I do? And also, what are the things that I want to continue doing? And what are the things I don't ever want to do again?
And I became friends with Lavakshi. And
there
Lavakshi
you go.
is my friend. It's so fun. So I wanted to text her live. We're reading the book about you.
Amazing. So it's exactly that. It's when you started looking for your values. And I know that there are people who just it's called rage applying. Like they just apply just to feel that they're doing something, versus what you did. You said, okay, it didn't work. I was looking for my values, and then I started applying. And then when I found my values, I changed my job. I changed my title. I changed my title on LinkedIn, and all of a sudden it found me. So that's, one tool that you were talking about, which is the baggage. The other thing is that you talked about resilience. You talked about, okay, I understand that I'm hurting. I understand that it didn't work last time. I understand that I worked myself to death. Now I need to be resilient. And whatever, it's mindfulness, going outside for a walk, meeting more friends, opening your network, whatever it is that makes you bounce back is super important, because you can go on a journey that you don't know when it ends, and you don't know how it looks, without being resilient, because then everything feels like a slap in the face. A decline letter, a job that you were applying to and you didn't get an answer, you got ghosted, or a job that you were in the interview and then they say, well, we chose to go in a different direction. Everything feels like a setback. But when you're strong enough, or when, bumps happen and you know how to bounce back, it's a key to actually be able to continue. And then you also mentioned network.
Before we're going there, okay, because we should discuss this topic and it should receive a lot of attention. Before that, I want to build up on what we just shared here, because we have beautiful comments from the audience. And we have Vasilina joining us, our own leaguer, joining us from Switzerland. We're very excited to have you here. And she's saying, really like your approach, Ira. Thank you for sharing how you found your special sauce. I'm sure you will work your new job. Thank you for this beautiful comment. And we are going to build up on that, because what I want us to do right now is to actually use the trick that you mentioned in the book and just before Osnat, and to ask everyone in the audience, okay, to exercise this with us and comment with the one thing that going forward with their career they want to keep doing. This one thing that keeps them so motivated and joyful when it comes to product management. And also, what is the one thing that they really don't want to do anymore on the new opportunities to come on their career? Leaders in the audience, please go ahead and tell us in the comment section your answer for both of these questions, because I think this is a critical one. Okay. And I love the fact that we are discussing not just opportunities in general, but values and things that matter to us and things that we don't want to do anymore and things that just make us, frustrated and annoyed, because it's about tailoring the opportunities or choosing the opportunities to suit us, and not about the other way around, as you mentioned, Osnat, like just, oh, where is Osnat? We don't have Osnat anymore. So she will be back in a second, I'm sure. But what we do, not just to apply to all job openings out there, but actually to find those that work for us. So now Ira is going, I don't know, something is happening today. This is cool. Okay. So once Ira will be back with us here, we will go through. Here is Ira. Okay. Good to have you back. This is Product Management 101, how to glue things behind the scene and how to make sure that everything works, even if it's not. Okay. So this is Product Management. Also during this webinar and product book club. So Ira, in our chat here, you commented with your own stuff, your own things that matter to you, the one thing that you want to keep doing and the one thing that you want to get away from. So let us all know. And Adriana, you're next. So think about yours.
So the stuff I want to do as much as I can is to be in the learning mindset. And what I loved about Osnat's book, that she said she was sometimes so stuck in the execution mode. So she became like unable to be in the learning mindset. And this was me. So I was like, oh my God, thank you for this book. And I was like always executing and not learning and not taking my time to learn about the industry. And I was like, okay, so many bugs. What am I doing next?
Long term, and not just the short term, not just the immediate things on our table, but also like long term and building our know-how and skills. Absolutely.
So long term, I want to keep like my open mind and to keep my fresh eyes. And no politics, no, and try to make sure I can thrive in this environment and to adjust myself all the time. No politics,
I love that. Thank you very much, Ira. Adriana, what is your one big yes and one big no?
Big yes in which way? Of
the things that you want to make sure that the next job, your next opportunity, your next adventure, this is like a must-have for your next opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, in terms of one thing that matters a lot is that the company mission aligns with my own personal values. Like I can do, I have a lot of energy and I can have a lot of focus. And I think that I have so many things that I can do. And I would absolutely be wasting those efforts if I did it for a company where, like, let's say like a company that, I don't know, maybe they make the software that runs private prisons, like hard no, for me. And then I think one really big yes is seeing an organization that really values all of the different parts of the org. I mean, I love when I see that, someone who is in product or someone who is a product leader was initially in customer service at that company, for example, because that is, I think, a company that values internal knowledge and values that kind of transformation of their own employees. So there's my big no and there's my big yes.
I love that. Thank you very much, Adriana, for sharing this with us. We have some comments here from the audience. We have Nir sharing, keep on road mapping and finding business development opportunities. This is good. We have Linda joining us and saying, continue inspiring and empowering others. Stop on being on unauthentic to ourselves to accommodate others. Yes, I love this one. Thank you very much. I think we can all find much true in what you just shared. So Rob here says, I would like to network and learn with fellow product management professionals. So it's also about who are the people that we are going to work with, right? It's not just about the product. It's not just about the technology. It's of course about the mission and the values, but it's also about the people that we are going to be surrounded by, both online and offline, depends on the time. And this is a really good progress here in the audience when we are discussing the things that we care and the things that we don't want to do anymore. And now it's time to talk about networking, Osnat, because this is a big deal. And as you mentioned before in your book, you mentioned it as personal board of directors. So it's not just about networking, it's about the right people.
Right. Exactly. It's exactly that. It's the people that fill in different roles, just like a regular board of directors, that you bring someone with finance, someone with tech, someone with privacy, someone with cybersecurity information. Like, you bring various people to the table to help the company. And in the same way, you need to bring that to your career advice. And sometimes you need someone to unpack a specific industry for you, or someone that needs to unpack a relationship, or how do you manage up, or how do you manage down. And other people might open different doors or different awareness that you do not have on how you show up. The difference between personal board of directors and friends is that they will give you honest advice. They will not necessarily tell you what you want to hear in that moment. And a lot of the times I have someone like that, by the way, I'm not strong mentally to speak to him every day. It's a person that always gives me tough love. He was my ex-manager. He knows how I show up, and he will always tell me the truth. He will always say, you will not thrive in this type of organization. You will not be good with this type of leader. He actually tells me what I'm not. And it helps me because I know he admires me. I know he respects me. I know he knows what I'm good at. I am open to hearing things that are not perfect about myself, but I need that person to pull me up and make me better. But on days that I'm not that strong, on days that things did not work as I wanted, I will not contact him. I will contact a friend, my mother, my husband, like people that are there in my corner and think I'm the most amazing person on earth. And they will bring back my resilience. They will bring back my confidence. They will be there for me. But I also know that it's not the only thing I need. I need those people who will stretch me. Now, the personal board of directors are people who understand you and your career. So these are people from your previous workplace, people that are in your role in different industries. So they understand your job, but they can give you an insight into a specific industry that you haven't worked in. Maybe you're aspiring to work in that industry. And also, those are people that will help you identify your role model, or how to get to your role model, or what you're missing. So they could be leaders, or leaders from your previous organization, or other leaders that you meet, or what I like to call professional crush. It's like someone that you say, wow, they're doing a really good job, or I really admire their career and I like this path and I want to learn from them. So this combination deserves a seat at your table. And those are the people who will help you grow. This is a really good reminder to not burn bridges from your previous workplaces, because your personal board of directors members are there. You need to bring from your previous workplace people that can give you advice. Those ex-managers, peers of your managers, your peers, your employees, we can learn from 360, from whoever identified who we are in the workplace and are able to give us relevant, sound advice.
And going to this relevant sound advice, one of the things that I like that you mentioned in the book, Osnat, is the fact that we don't have to tell them that they sit on our board, right? It's not just about us calling them one day and saying, hey, so I decided for you to join my personal board of directors. No, it's about us creating a learning or growing experience with them. Sometimes it makes sense to tell them, hey, just so you know, I consider your opinion so much that you are on my personal board of directors, but sometimes it's better not to tell them that.
Absolutely. Because it, first of all, it creates a little bit awkwardness in the conversation, and also some sort of like commitment that some people are not willing to jump in. They will give you all the time you need, but that sentence, you are, or I have some people that DM me and say, can you be my mentor? Hold on. Right? So instead of that, it's, can we just talk? And if you find a mutual benefit, it's possible that it will continue. I will say, though, that those who I consider on my personal board of directors, after I read the book, they were like, oh, so I'm that, right? Yeah, it was funny. But really, none of them were called this way. On the other hand, I do know people that do call it this way and even create meetings between the people on their board of directors. What Melissa Perry is doing is actually calling her personal board of directors, and she meets with them online. Like, you can actually hear them talk. So it's really cool. You can do it in whatever way works for you, as long as you really do it. You really maintain those relationships that will help you grow and open doors for you, and you give back so that you maintain this contact and you can use it again and again and again.
I love that. How about being practical and using some actionable know-how here and talking about tips and tricks for networking while growing our careers? So either like when we are looking for the next position or job opportunity, or even just a step beforehand when we want to realize what is it, the big deal, the big thing that we are looking for right now. So I welcome everyone in the audience to comment with your own best tip or trick when it comes to networking, but we're also going to have a round of these tips and tricks here as ourselves. So Adriana and Ira, get ready. Osnat, you're next. I'm going to start with one of my own. The thing about networking is that we have to make sure that the other person receives something from the interaction. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to send them flowers or chocolate, but you have to be polite or to use your words in a way that at least put a smile on their face, or make them think about something, or sending them a link following a podcast where you listened to them talking about something and they mentioned something, whatever episode, and then you can actually write them or text them and say, I listened to your podcast. I loved everything that you had to share. I actually find value in what you shared, and I want to share this link or this text or this column or whatever it is with you, because I think we can find value in that. And if you have the time for that, because you know you are busy, I would love to pick up your mind for like 5 minutes or 10. You show the other person that you care about them. You certainly put a smile on their face, and you just shared a piece of knowledge with them, something that probably they will find interest in. So make sure that you don't make networking while job searching or while building your career as a one street journey, because it's always about two people that engage in a meaningful conversation. So this was my tip. Osnat, what about yours?
I love it. I love your tip. And a similar story is in my book, when someone actually wanted my time, but she listened to me on a podcast and she did not agree. So she wrote to me, I listened to your podcast. Here's why I don't agree to what you said. And I would love to connect with you. The whole story and how we met and how we interacted afterwards is in the book. But really, this is an amazing way to not only show giving back, but also show that you put in the time just as much as you expect them to put time, you put in the time. And it's really genuine. It's you cared enough to listen, you cared enough to have an opinion and to think about it, to spend time. And that's why it's so valuable. So one of the tips I like to say, and it's not hard, it's really to look for your own community. We are product managers. There are communities of product managers. There are events that involve product managers. There are other people that we really appreciate and we want to learn from, and we can meet them at these various events. So if we follow them and we hear that they are appearing somewhere or talking somewhere, it's one of those examples. But those networking should not stop once you found a job. The networking will help you find the next opportunity, find a way to learn something that you're on the job, you want to learn it, and then you have your network to say, hey, I just have this challenge at work. Do you know anybody who can help me? Or have you experienced it yourself? So really to go and dig into where you want to belong. And that's part of building your role model. Where is that next you living? Where are they spending their time? Who are they hanging out with? And starting to be in those circles ahead of time so that you start to belong. And I love your tip about giving back. And one easy way, if you don't know how to give back, is to ask. Yes. To say, I'm grateful for your time. Is there any way I can give back? And a lot of people who are very much ready in their career have an ask. They will tell you, can you introduce me to someone? Oh, I'm actually working on something that maybe you can be my first user for, or you can, join me in doing something. But ask if you don't know, but it would be magical if you find out yourself.
Absolutely. I love this one. Thank you very much. And let's see what the audience here say. This is quite of a long one, so I'm going to cut it short. Therefore, your primary objective should be to provide value to fellow product managers and work toward shared success. This is a beautiful one, Saurabh. Thank you very much. Spot on. It's about shared success. It's not about me using another person. Networking is not about name dropping. It's not about showing how many people you are connected to over LinkedIn or whatever it is platform that you are using. It's about shared success. And as you, Osnat, said, we can always find something in which we can help the other person reach their success. And then all of a sudden, we created something of our own. This is fantastic. Thank you very much. Adriana, what do you have to add? Your tip or your trick when it comes to networking while rebuilding your product management career?
So one thing about networking is that I really love to be omnidirectional in terms of not just reaching out, let's say, to professional connections, but also to my neighbors, the people who live physically near me, to people I interact with when dropping my son off at school, for example. And one other thing is that my LinkedIn network consists only of people I have either met or otherwise somehow interacted with. And so I never accept LinkedIn connections from people who say, hey, can I be your LinkedIn connection? And I've never spoken with them. If we work together on a project, if we're in an overlapping mentorship group or another organization, then I will accept it. But I want to be able to connect absolutely anyone in my LinkedIn network with anyone else in my LinkedIn network. And so I give that priority. And when I've had people reach out to me saying, hey, it looks like, you do interesting things. Can we be connections? I'll say, hey, if we talk, if we are on a podcast together, if we are something else, then yes. But until then, no, because I need this degree of, let's say, of strength to even those weak connections.
I love that. Thank you very much, Adriana. So many approaches with one goal in mind. Make it valuable. It's not just about how many people you know. It's about real, true connections. So many approaches, one goal in mind. I love that. Ira, what is your tip or trick when it comes to networking? You are muted, so I will unmute.
Thank you. First thing I love is communities. So like Osnat said, create your own communities. And I found that my strength comes from the community. And when you share what you've been through or even if you give value to the community, if you create something additional, when you have something you struggle with, and you, like, if I need to help with interviews, and then I create like a meetup about the interviews, so everybody like learns on the way. I meet new people which are struggling with the same issues, and I'm also learning, and I give value to them. And this, from, in my opinion, really gives real value and real networking. I do agree to most of the people who want to be my friends in LinkedIn. I do not say no, because if people who want to connect, it's okay, in my opinion. But I do not consider them as my real connection unless they are talking to me and meet me in person or online. But what we are doing now in the product management meetups, which are created for people who are searching for the next opportunity, it's like we are limiting this number of people who are in the group, because we want them all to participate in the meetups. And then we create face-to-face meetups with food, because people mingle better with food. This is what I believe. I created a breakfast club for urban moms. This was my first community which I've created for when I became first time a mom in Tel Aviv, and I didn't know anybody, so I decided to learn while I'm eating. So I'm doing the same for the product managers. We eat together before, and we start to mingle, and then I think it creates better connections. And then we have something to learn, which is painful to all of us. And our next meetup is going to be with the psychologist, organizational psychologist, who's going to help to build the resilience and to keep us not being burned out when we have our jobs. So each pain I have, I create meetups for this pain, and real networking with food. This is my tip.
This is fantastic. Thank you very much. And Tatiana is here with a question following up on this subject that we just discussed. And she's asking, do you find it important for a PM to be present in the office, or at least at the same location or city? Because sometimes requirements for on-site PMs compared to other specialties. What do you think about that? We're starting to take questions from the audience, because there is a long list of beautiful, beautiful questions here. Osnat, let's start with you. What do you think?
There's no right and wrong. And to be in the office or not to be in the office, I can tell you pre-COVID, before even this kind of work from home was a thing, I had a day a week where I would spend most of those days at home, and then I would just plan the day differently. I would plan to brainstorm. I would plan to be on specific calls, like with users, to interview them quietly, something that would be interrupting me at work, or I would be delayed because of other meetings. And I would spend that day also to research. So I would need to kind of heads down to just sit and learn and quietly focus. So there is no right or wrong. There is a right or wrong for your team, and there is a right or wrong for your organization. So this will change from, different organizations. I believe in human connection, and the human connection needs to happen regardless if you're in the office or not. So the fact that we are hybrid or remote does affect how the culture within product organization happens, because we keep ourselves to working just with the day-to-day people that we have in our meetings, versus, we could have sat next to someone in a, like a lunch and learn, or we could have bumped into someone in the cafeteria and we might have become friends, although we don't work together. So it is important to be proactive about creating those type of conversation, because that means that you build your network internally, and that you also learn from other places in the organization, not just with the 5 to 10 people that you work day to day. And that's important. In my book, I actually talk about 4 reorgs I've survived because someone from another group called me and said, hey, do you know there's an opening on my team? You should come and apply. So the network within the company can help you do a better job, enjoy your day to day, but also save you when change is coming, and save and make a shortcut for you. So build those relationships regardless if you're in home or not, and be proactive about it. Don't just look for the day-to-day people.
I love that. Thank you very much, Osnat. We are taking another question. This one comes from Sorab, and he's asking how important it is to have a product portfolio with a mix of building products and data projects for product management career growth. So how important it is, Ira and Adriana, get ready to answer as well, not just us, Osnat and myself, how important it is to have a mix.
I can take it.
Go ahead.
As a product manager, I have brilliant ideas, and I'm saying it objectively. But the only way for me to really know if they're brilliant is data. So I don't separate the two, and I work tirelessly every time I come to the organization to either put access to data and make sure that I have those insights and information, or when it exists, we always do cleanup. So there's no perfect organization around the data and the access, but it is important to be a data-informed product manager, because otherwise the list of ideas, the list of suggestions, the list of things that pile up in our brain and in our to-do list is just too hard to say goodbye to. So it's important when you're presenting yourself, you always have examples to show that although you are not working on a data product, you are data driven and you are savvy enough to get inputs from data, and you have a way to show your analytical skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another way to think about your question or wonder here, Surab, is to think about your goal. Because once you have a goal in mind, you can tailor your path toward it. Because if you want to be an expert in a specific matter or a specific domain, this will indicate you that it's better for you to follow somewhat of a logical or like something that makes sense within this domain. So if you want to build your product management career within the healthcare industry, let's say, so it would make more sense for you to pick up products from the biotech industry or something that has to do with med or something like that, and of course to take extra curriculum and get more into the learning about things that go with this domain. If this is not your goal and it's not about being a subject matter, more about having proficiency in, let's say, stages of products, okay, or launching products or stuff like that, actually being exposed to a variety of products and domains will teach you a lot in a way that you can use the different lessons you've learned in the different products within the next job. So I think it's not about one adventure or journey fits all. It's about your goals. It's about your values, about the things that you like to do and the things you really don't want to do anymore, as we said previously. And then from there, tailoring your own experience. But thank you very much for this question. And Bridget is here joining and saying, thank you all so much. I'm Bridget from Washington, D.C. and was listening to it on my way to an appointment. After a career break, I'm looking to go back into health product role. I'm excited about this community, and we are excited about having you here with us, Bridget, as well. Thank you very much. Next question comes from Netalel, who is asking, what if my experience is from a niche industry that barely hires right now? I can't afford to apply only for positions that fit my values and skills. Otherwise, I'll just keep waiting. This is a good one.
Yeah, very good one.
Yeah. A real one also.
Yeah, I will say.
Yes, Nathaniel is a as well.
Friend.
So happy to see him. Yeah.
Ira, I feel like you guys are due for coffee, maybe.
We have coffee in our product meetups.
Amazing. So my advice here is this is exactly what I feel is a little bit of a spaghetti. It's like a niche, and then they're not hiring, and then okay. What I would go after is to look at your transferable skills, because being a product manager comes with specific practices, skills, and experience that you can take anywhere. And if you already moved an industry, then you can talk about moving industries. If you haven't, then you can talk about how you're learning about this specific industry and why you're so passionate about it. But it does need to have an exercise about unpacking skills and things that you can take forward, because your skills are not just by being an industry expert. It comes from your role, the fact that you manage a product, you know how to speak to users, you know how to do research, you know how to look at data, you know how to rally teams, you know how to storytell, you know, and those are relevant it's any industry. And sometimes they're similar industries or nearby industries that you can maybe feel more comfortable. But it's not about, I never hired someone, by the way, so maybe you need to look for managers like me, never hired someone that is necessarily coming from my industry. I looked if they can actually do the job, if they're equipped to do the job, if they have the experience, if they're excited about it, if they show me that they're excited about it. There's so many other ways that you can show why you're a fit, and it's not just bringing that.
I love it. Thank you very much, Adriana. I get a feeling you have something to add.
Yeah, I'd love to address the values part of that question. And I think that, Osnat talked about transferable skills. And I think with values, I think that for me, anyway, there are many fewer questions that are a no on the values, many fewer companies that are a no on the values side than are a yes. So I think I personally find it much easier to bucket companies positively on the values side in terms of, I think, what they're doing to or for or within society.
I love that. I love that. Thank you very much for that. And the last but not least is this one comes from Guy, and he's asking, what role in your career most surprised you, Osnat? I love this one. It's an unconventional
I have a feeling
question.
he read it. I have a feeling that Guy read my book. So thank you for the question. Well, one of the things I think that mostly surprised me was because I needed to reinvent myself. I could not afford leaving the company or even being laid off. So I was called into a layoff conversation in my previous workplace. I'm here in the United States. At the time, I was under a work permit, so I could not afford losing that job, or I would need to go back home after a very short time of being here. So I needed to reinvent myself very quickly and fight for a role that would make me stay. And that surprised me because I did not know that I have experience to do that. What I did is I did a lot of the things that are mentioned in the book, unpacked who the manager is and who I would need to be, what's the role model, who I would need to be in order to work for him and be valuable to him and his team. And then I explained in the layoff conversation, I explained why it is relevant for me to actually stay. And I showed that I actually understand what he would need. And I built myself into that role. When I exited that room, understanding that I actually have a job, I was like, okay, now I actually need to understand what I need to do and how I do it. So I activated my network and I started asking questions, and I worked throughout the whole weekend in order to close that gap and be able to come Monday with some intelligent perspectives. So that was the best job I had. And I have a career for over 20 years. So it's the best job until today, although I had many jobs before and after. And that leader that called me to fire me and ended up hiring me is on my personal board of directors. The book is also dedicated to him. So definitely a life-changing experience.
We love happy endings. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead.
As I said, I'm going to start my new journey in 1 month, I hope. Fingers crossed. And I'm going to start in a different industry than I have ever been. I was in banking and finance, and now I'm going to move to blockchain and cybersecurity, which is quite weird for me. So how would you start preparing, use this month to prepare for your new role? And I'm going to be the only product in this team because they have CPO, but this CPO comes from R&D and he's not product, and I'm going to be the product. So I'm coming to somewhere which just post a second round. And I would like to give them my best value. They somehow believed in me. I didn't sell them any fairy tales, but they found a fairy tale in me. So I would like to give them this fairy tale, you know.
Ooh, I suggest you come with your skills without and no fairy tales, but I understand that you're grateful, which is lovely. What I would so first of all, I would spend the time recovering from job search. I would spend the time to bounce back and bring back everything that, maybe you missed because you were very busy job searching, taking care of yourself. It's going to be a very hectic time when you start. So first, I would say, be kind. Do what you would probably advise your friend to do. Hey, are you taking a vacation? What are you doing before that? So to do that, because starting a new job is going to be hard no matter, what. So to build that first. The second thing is to go back to everybody who helped you along the way and update them. Say thank you. Offer your help now and update them on your whereabouts. They'll be there again when you want to change, when you want to learn something new. Maybe when you follow up, you can say, hey, and I'm also working in this role. Do you have any advice for me or anybody that I should meet? Because once you start working, and I know you were hired to do the job and everybody expects us to do the job, but do it 95% and leave 5% to learn new things, to meet the people that they would recommend you, to actually grow into that new role, the new industry you're in. Maybe you need to leave some time for new meetups that are not just for job searchers, but for people from blockchain and from your industry. So I would spend that. Once you're on the job and you get the list of people to meet, challenge that and see who else you need to meet in the organization, who else is affected by your role, and meet with them as well. It's not just the day-to-day. Continue to build that personal board of directors inside the company. And well done to be the first PM under, a CPO that comes not necessarily from your world, means that you will need to come with, this is what they put in your hands. This is what they trust you with, to come with your product practice, to bring your value. And, and I think that if you do that, I'm sure that they are suffering from specific pain that comes without having a product manager, a real product manager there. I always say you either pay for it at the beginning and throughout the time, or you pay high price. And that means that you have a big job now, a high price to clean up the fact that you didn't have a PM. So this is what you're joining. So bring that to the table. And I'm sure that that will create the fairy tale that you're talking about.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. I had the best time.
Same.
I had the best time. I love the book. I love the author, our own mentor here, Osnat Benari. Thank you very much. And I had the best time discussing it with you, Ira and Adriana. Thank you very much for opening up. This is not an easy discussion. And you opened up to us. You shared your experiences with us. You shared your dreams, your concerns, your values, and much more than that, in a way that inspired us all. And I'm sure it inspired so many people that are watching us right now in the audience to start from scratch and to rebuild their own product management career in a way that works for them, making the change work for them. So thank you very much from that. Starting from scratch was our book for today. Thank you, Osnat Benari, the author, for sharing it with us. And special thanks go to our leaguers, Ira Charlene and Adriana Valencia, for asking great, to-the-point questions. Thank you, ladies. You did it, and you did it fantastic job. I'm Maria Cassis. This is Product League, these meaningful discussions about product management and about product management careers. This is the league. Thank you so much for watching us. We can't wait to support you in becoming the best product manager you can be. Don't forget to join us for our next webinar. And until then, hit the like button wherever it is you watch us right now. Subscribe and watch the dozens of other interesting product management webinars and videos that we have on our channel. Go league it up. Bye-bye, leaguers. Osnat, Ira, and Adriana. Again, thank you very much for your time. See you on our next event. Bye-bye.
Thank you.